This is the construction of a modern Kern mantle climbing rope. The outer fibres here, the sheath of the rope or the mantle, these are made up of lots of braided strands, and depending on how tightly those strands are braided and the number of strands that braid gives a certain amount of the flexibility and properties of the rope. Depends on how easy it is to make a knot. The inner core fibres, or the kern, in this particular rope, they're made up of a number of strands, and each one of these strands is made up of another 3 strands, and each one of those is made up of, well, I don't know how many, but lots of very, very fine fibres. And the important thing is that each one of these fibres runs the entire length of the rope, and collectively they give the rope its elasticity and they give the rope its strength. Each one of them individually, probably very difficult to see, but each one of them is not particularly strong. I can snap them quite easily, but with the thousands of fibres that there are inside the rope, that's what gives it its strength. There are lots of different types of ropes, every manufacturer coming up with a different variation on a theme, but generally there are thinner twin ropes and half ropes, and these are the kinds of ropes that you'd use in a pair for more complex mountaineering situations. Nice thick beefy single ropes which you might use for instructing because they're very hard wearing. You might use them on an indoor climbing wall because they'll last a long time, or you might use them for maybe for working a route if you're practicing a route and you're going to use the fall off lots of times. So that's a nice big rope like that. And this is my standard rope. This is a 10mm single climbing rope, and this is the rope that we tend to use most of the time for most climbing situations.
The rope is the fundamental piece of equipment that you'll use for climbing, in the sense that it's your main contact point with your belayer. When you're choosing a rope for climbing, you'll have quite a few options available to you. Now, a standard climbing rope is what is known as a dynamic rope. It's designed to stretch and absorb the energy of a fall. Now, climbing ropes are available in various different types. Now, the main one that would be used for sport climbing or single pitch climbing would be a single rope. Now, that's generally around a 10mm and upwards, 10, 11mm being a sort of standard size for a dynamic single rope. Modern climbing ropes are extremely durable and really able to handle quite a lot of abuse, but it's always a good idea to learn how to look after your rope. And the most important thing is to keep it clean, because particles of dust and grit getting into the fibres of the rope can actually wear it away and could eventually cause it to fail. So put a tarp down on the ground or a bucket or something like that, so that when you're using your rope you can unravel it into the bucket and keep it off the ground. That's always a good idea. And when you finish climbing for the day, make sure you look after your rope. Dry it off. If it's been in the water, give it a good rinse. Make sure it's nice and dry before you put it away, and it should be fine. And most of the time when I'm climbing, I prefer to use a rope bag with an integral tarp that I can unravel my rope on and then just fold it up and it's out of the dirt, and that's a really good way to keep your rope clean. But if I don't have that, you have to learn how to coil your rope. Now, one of the easiest ways to do it is just to take a length of your rope, like so. Just get a good tail and then fold it over your hands, sort of alternating sides as you go. And this means that your rope won't get tangled and it can be easily unraveled when you get to your climb. There are several ways of doing this. Some people do it over their shoulders. I prefer to just do it in my hands like this. And then once you reach the end, you can take the tail that you've used and use that to wrap the rope up. After you've used a rope a few times, it's inevitably going to get dirty, and the best way to clean it is to put it into a washing machine. Now, front-loading washing machines are better because they don't have an agitator in the center, so always a front-loading washing machine, and no detergent. So run it a few times first of all to clear out any detergent. On a cold wash, put it in the washing machine and give it a good wash. That'll get all the grit and dust out very effectively. Before you put it in the washing machine, you don't want it to get tangled. So by putting it into a chain or a knit, that will prevent that from happening. So first of all, make a knot in the rope like this. Once you've made your knot, form a loop, reach through the loop, and then start pulling the rope through. This will prevent the rope from getting tangled as you wash it. And there you have it, a knitted rope ready to go in the washing machine. Now, to undo it after it's been washed, all you have to do is grab one end and the whole thing will just come unraveled again.